Hello, and thanks so much for tuning in. My name is Jamie. Today I want to talk more about how all of the people in our lives that come in and out of our reality are really just helping us evolve and grow and shift our states of consciousness and also become aware of our own patterns and things that we have active in our field that we need to let go of and move beyond. So, I've talked about this in another video about how I believe that other people are just reflecting back to us the things that we have active, meaning various patterns, they're just playing out. So we are center stage in our reality, and we're each getting our own individualized reality based on things that we need to learn and balance out from the past and grow through. And, people have come in and out of my reality a lot. And what I've noticed is patterns repeat until we break them. So, I have cleared a lot using holographic kinetics, but really I see it also that we can do this work on our own when we become aware of what's going on in our lives. So we all are moving in and out of each other's lives in this perfectly orchestrated sequence, I believe, because I know that people land on my path at these like perfectly timed places, and we are always where we are meant to be. Case in point, because we are there. So I'm where I'm meant to be because I am here. And people are in my life because they are meant to be in my life for some reason. So I pay attention to repeating patterns or things that I'm learning through various interactions. And sometimes it's just connecting with people to show us that we're not alone, to connect us with others on our same sort of wavelength, like frequency, that are aligned with us in some way, that we can connect to in a heart-based level, like at a heart level. But sometimes it's like we're getting shown things about ourselves that we need to release, and becoming aware of our patterns and becoming aware of these aspects of our lives that are going on that we aren't enjoying is part of the process. It's not the entire process. Simply becoming aware of it will not change anything, because from that, we need to, in the least, take action towards the new reality that we have the intention to create for ourselves. So, what do I mean by this? I have worked with people who wanted to stop drinking alcohol, for instance. And when they had that intention to stop drinking alcohol, there were things that they needed to do beyond the session to really solidify their intention and solidify that new reality for themselves. And one of them did it and one of them didn't. And I think of this example because it just shows that, taking action really is so key in this reality to shifting what has been playing out for us, what has been showing up, and ultimately what we ourselves have been creating, because we are very much powerful creators in this reality, whether you know it or not. You're unconsciously creating if you're not consciously creating. And anyway, with this particular example, I saw how one of them moved forward and just started to not hang out with people while they were drinking alcohol, right? The other one continued to run in the same circles of people who had been pressuring them before to drink, and they went back to drinking. So we can't just simply become aware of something that we want to change or that we don't like in our reality. We have to also then take action towards that new reality. That's a really big part. Even when you clear things with holographic kinetics, as I've been clearing things, I still have to pay attention and take action in the ways that I've been intending to change my life, my reality. And, I will notice that at times people come into my reality, and I don't believe it's like a test, okay? I don't believe that we get tested, really. I don't look at it that way. But I do believe that we are given opportunities to grow and evolve our responses and evolve our ways of being and our actions. So we can be given growth opportunities through the people that we meet to show us where maybe we're still not speaking up for ourselves, where maybe we're still not setting very clear boundaries, or where we're having a lack of clear communication. All of these things can show up with other people because, sure, healing and then living in a little bubble and not interacting with many people, you will feel like you're just beyond so many things that you once had going on. And then you get around people, and guess what? You get shown a lot of things through those interactions. And that's what's happened with me in my life. And also, beyond just people showing us things that we have active, where you'll keep having the same kinds of relationships or the same kinds of interactions show up over and over. The person change, the meat suit in front of you changes, but the pattern, the thing that plays out with them stays the same. That's how you know that you have some repeating thing going on, because you are the common denominator to that equation. And I had to realize that for my own self with relationships, with some things that I'd been attracting in years ago that were continuing to just show up. And at one point, what really gave me a more wider lens to view those situations with was that I was the common denominator. And we can think that, other people are the problem. We can think that, other people are narcissists or controlling, or all the various labels that everybody wants to give everybody else to kind of more quietly blame other people for their problems. And the reality that I've come to find out for myself in my own life is that no one is to blame. No one outside of you is to blame. When we get stuck in a state of blaming other people for our experiences and our reality, what happens is that we can't move past that. It doesn't allow us to move past that, because we're going to keep thinking that that particular person is the problem. No one else is the problem. No one else is the problem. When I've gone back in holographic kinetic sessions and have cleared things around relationships and have looked at various issues related to feeling controlled in relationships, for an example, it's all gone back to my own stuff, meaning a lot of that came from past lives. So a lot of it was things that I was carrying through time. And that person that I felt controlled by was just there as an actor in my play, playing out what I had active in my field. It's not about that person. And in fact, when I cleared those things at the root cause and changed those dimensions of time, I no longer had that showing up in my reality. I no longer had people trying to control me, it completely left my reality. So this is what I'm saying. We want to give labels to other people, and really it's just a way for us, unknowingly a lot of the time, to place blame on someone else. What is so freeing about actually doing the inner work and shifting to a state of more balance internally is that we take responsibility for our lives, and we realize that we are only responsible for our own thoughts, words, actions, and deeds. We are not responsible for anyone else. We're not responsible for how anyone else is showing up. It's not for us to say what anyone else should be doing, should be eating, should be wearing, should be anything. We are each getting this very unique, individualized reality for ourselves that's going to grow us the most and allow us to realize who we are at the spirit level, and to, if we want to, if we take the reins to shifting into a conscious creator role in our reality, and we allow ourselves to take center stage in our own reality, it's very freeing. It's very freeing to realize that you're not responsible for anyone else. You're not responsible for what anyone else is doing. And yet also there's the component of realizing that we are all just spirits incarnate. And we're all coming from the same place, and we're all intimately connected within our energy fields, right? But we're all having our own reality play out. So if you want to shift your life, pay attention to what's repeating in your life and start taking different actions than what you have been taking, than what feels natural to you, and start paying attention to the things that show up in your reality. And maybe it's a matter of just speaking it to the person. So if you have a certain kind of person showing up for, say, intimate relationships, realizing that if you're setting the intention to change that and you want to attract a different kind of partner, then you're going to have to, number one, become aware of things signaling you that that's going to play out again, and maybe choose differently than what you typically do, right? Pay attention to the kinds of things that you've been attracted to in people that have then led you into certain kinds of relationships. And then next time, realize it's happening and don't choose that person, right? So taking steps is so important. And what I've seen too in my reality is that we all link up in these like such perfect ways, where it's like, if I have something playing out for me that I've been carrying through time, or that's coming down my genetic line, or that was created in this lifetime, say, I will sync up perfectly with partners who have something to that fits in with that pattern for me. And on the flip side, I'll be reflecting back to them something that's perfect for them to grow through, and will give them sort of keys to their own consciousness evolution. And at times that doesn't feel good. At times these things play out in ways that don't feel good. Okay. We can be given situations that we're like very unhappy about. Okay. Like, we can be given situations with other people that we don't enjoy. And so that's where the ticket is. That's where the keys are. And one of the most beautiful things that we can do for each other is to separate the person from the growth, in the sense that when we realize these things about how other people are interacting with us in our reality, and we take on a bigger picture view, a bigger picture perspective, and realize that everything is happening in the way that we're creating based on our own inner world, our own things carried through with our spirit, our own things that we're meant to clear for our family lines, then we stop seeing the triggers as a problem with the other person. We stop blaming the other people. And that's when the real inner work starts, is when you can stop blaming your outer reality for your unhappiness, and you stop blaming other people for your unhappiness. And along the way, realizing that when we shift and grow, when we clear, when we want to achieve more balance, when we want to live at a more observer position at point zero without reacting to everything that shows up in our reality, And ideally, not reacting to anything that shows up in our reality and just seeing it for what it is, which is a reflection that's allowing us to get more clarity, that's allowing us to get more clear, that's allowing us to achieve more balance within, which is going to give us more balance expressed out into our physical reality. And when you take that broader perspective, you realize that it's never about the other people. It's never about the other people. It's just showing you things. And even in my reality, like, I'll have things that show up after I've cleared certain issues that I know, and sometimes it takes me a minute to recognize this, is that I'm being given an opportunity to choose differently in how I respond and interact with other people. And sometimes, you know, I've been working through communication things, and sometimes it doesn't happen right away. I might not see it until after, or I've been working through things around boundaries, and recently, like, I didn't notice where I had holes in my boundaries still, or where I was given the opportunity to sort of stand in my own boundaries, and did so later. Like, once I had time to really reflect, once I saw what was going on, then I was able to shift how I was showing up and communicate things that I had neglected to communicate. So that happens, right? We're human. We're not going to get this perfect all the time. We're not going to, like, it's not even about getting it perfect. It's about just giving ourselves grace that we are humans. You know, we're spirits having this human experience, but at the end of the day, this experience feels very real, and I get that. And all of our interactions with other people feel very real and big, and when you combine them with emotions, and sometimes emotions and energy that have built up through time, that we've been repeating these things, you know, lifetime after lifetime, that can carry with it a big amount of energy that, you know, that's why it's so much easier to see other people's issues and to see the path that we ourselves would take in their position. But the reality is that, you know, as we move through this, everything feels real because the emotions are linked to these issues. And when those emotions get activated, we can just get into full on sort of blind mode, because we have a harder time then seeing it from the bigger picture. So, yeah, viewing things from the bigger picture, realizing that it's nobody else's, what do you say, duty to placate us or to show up in any way than what they are showing up as, because for whatever reason, they're showing up in our reality that way. And when you can see that multiple people are showing up in your life the same way, then you can realize it's a pattern, and that helps you shift it. Yeah. If this message landed for you, if it resonated, please comment, let me know. It really helps me keep this motivation for sharing. So, yeah, I'm really, you know, working to step more into my own voice and my own expression. And I've been through a lot, and I've learned a lot, and I know I have things to share, but at times, you know, yeah, I just wonder what is the best way for sharing this stuff. So if you're still here, I appreciate you so much, so much. Thank you for being here, and have a beautiful day.